Hey everyone, I'm Chad Granum. I'm going to present to you a really awful batshit idea, and most of you are going to be cringing by the end of this. So what is goto file? Goto file is a module that acts as a compile time directive to stop parsing or processing the current file and switch to another one instead. As you can see here. So how the hell is this useful? Usually it's not, but there are times where it is. Goto file is used by test2 harness, which I'm presenting on tomorrow, when it runs tests in preload mode. See, a lot of people test their exceptions or their warnings, which means checking the stack trace to make sure that it's just right. So if you used do or require to jump to your test file after having preloaded modules, you've got an extra stack frame and you break a very large number of tests. So we use goto file to flip out the current stack frame, just like you would with the special form of goto to jump into a sub. It's tail end recursion for files. How does this work? Use statements are begin blocks, so they execute before additional lines are parsed. Goto file, at its import, inserts a source filter. Yes, source filters are evil, but that's because they try to rewrite Perl. We're not rewriting anything. We're just throwing away some Perl and putting in other Perl. We are not rewriting it. Things to consider. The idea is pretty simple, but the implementation requires magic, and a lot of it's black magic. So I'm going to take a couple slides to explain the bits and pieces that lead into the working product. First off, forking in a begin block. When you fork, your file handles are shared between both processes. In a begin block, this includes the file handle being used to read the current file. So in this example here, we fork in a begin, and we will see that that line number 2 is only seen by one of the two processes. The other process, the file handle's already passed it. I reported this as a bug, and it was closed as not a bug. File and line number. If you simply jump to another file, Perl's going to think, if you just bring in the code from another file, Perl's going to think you're still on the original file and the original line number. But thankfully, we've got compiler directives that let you change the line and file on the fly. So with this example, we can see it thinks it died, life, the universe, and everything, line 42. Where's my data? So a lot of people don't realize the data file handle you get to read what's at the end of your script. It's just a regular file handle. You can open and close it just like any other file handle. It also happens to be the exact same file handle that was used to parse the file, fast forwarded to when it was done parsing. So in this example, I'm closing data, reopening it to the file again, and it reads the first line instead of the last. Line noise. Perl does some really strange things, I think we can all agree. One, if you were to read from a file in a begin block and then die outside of that begin block, Perl is going to tack on what you see right here to your exception. Once again, this can break some tests, especially the ones that test exceptions. Thankfully, I think, it provides the $. Variable. And if you localize that before reading the file, then this doesn't happen, because $. Is Perl's idea of what the last file handle read was and what line number it's on. So we can get rid of that noise. Making a module do stuff when loaded. I don't think I need to explain import to most of you here, so I'm just going to blast right through this slide. So now I'm going to show you the source code for goto file. This is the first of 2 slides that show the source. So we import with a file name. We got an ID so that we can look up this specific change later. We open a file handle to the new file, and we stash it away for later lookup under that ID. Then we've got some lines that we need to inject before we actually read in the new file. Setting it to package main, because that's what everything expects. Closing the data file handle. Reopening the data file handle to our ID that we've conveniently stored. And setting the line and file name. And then we bless this as an object to look up stuff later, because we need all these variables. And we use filter util call filter add to add the filter. Oops. So here's what our filter looks like. First, if we haven't already done initialization, we need to call filter read to get all the lines of the original file out of the way. Just make them go away. Then we set $_ to nothing, because filter read would have put all that garbage in there. Then on each call to filter, we localize $. So that we don't screw up anyone's exceptions. Get the file handle. We read the next line from the file handle. Unless there's lines that we need to inject, it does those first. And then it will return 0 if no line's defined, because that's how a filter works. If there was a line, it appends it to $_ and then returns. And suddenly, Perl is not only parsing and running the new file, it knows that it is in the new file. That is the end.